Good afternoon, YouTube users. I'm Phil King. Once again, we're cooking with the king. Tonight, I'm going to do one of my favorite recipes and my girlfriend's favorite recipe. And this is Eggplant Parmesan. So come on in, we'll go ahead and get started. I like to find a nice, firm, good size eggplant. Got good character to it. It's a nice, firm texture, good, firm fluff. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut these down. I'm going to cut them in about 3/4 of an inch width. Make sure you got a nice, super sharp knife. Kumakotos. Japanese knives are beautiful. You want to keep them all about the same width. Get one more out of it. That way they cook evenly in the pan. Alright, cool. So we've sliced up our eggplant. This is what it all looks like after it's been gone through. And there's a big contrast these days of people talking about the old school technique of salting them down. I don't really think you need to salt these down. They used to say it brings out the bitterness, but you do need to season them. So I'm going to go right into just a quick little seasoning of them. Okay, from here, I'm going to let them sit for a second. Just kind of come up. Just kind of let the seasoning work on them a little bit. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and get our dredge ready. These are our eggplants. As you can see, a little bit of moisture is starting to come off the eggplants. So I'll help dry out some of that moisture, which is great because that's going to make for the nice dredge. And I'm going to make up a little batch of breadcrumbs. I'm going to use some panko that I buy at the store. And then I like to make a collection of breads that I keep for myself that I season. And I kind of do them up here in the blender. So mixed breads there. A little bit of fresh thyme. A little bit of garlic powder. A pinch of dried basil. And that's it. Go ahead and give these a quick pulse. A little bit coarse, that's perfect. Add a little bit of the panko crumbs to it as well. And then I like to just kind of bring them together. Pankos are cool because they're a nice flaky bread. They're dried electronically, so they keep the nice fluff. And then some seasonings and my own breadcrumbs. Okay, we're getting our dredge together. This is some fresh egg and a little bit of flour. Always seasoning every step of the way. I like to just make sure you got a little something in there. Get this nice and well incorporated so that it doesn't run so thick. First, it's a little quick trip through the flour. Once again, you want to lightly dust into the egg where the egg will stick to that flour, and then into our breadcrumbs. Use your different hand. Keep this as a dry hand. Try not to get too much egg on this hand. Keep it dry. And just a nice breading. Okay, just finishing up the last one. As you can see, it gets to be a messy job. Just make sure you get your stations isolated, but this is the last one. Try to use up everything that we have. Make this one an extra crispy. We have our eggplant that's been nicely breaded. Nice big thick slices. They're going to be presented just as a single slice for the entree. That's why I kept them nice and fat, so I could stack them nice and tall. So I got my cast iron skillet going. I love cast iron. I love to work with cast iron. So our pan is nice and hot. I can see that the oil is moving. The oil is moving in the skillet nicely. You can hit it. A little bit of water, that'll kind of tell you. But the first one is just kind of an experiment, so you just kind of drop it in. We do want to cook these a little bit longer because they're thick. We only want to turn them once. And I can see that it's firmly stuck there, so I don't even want to touch it now since it's in the middle of its cooking process. So we're just going to go ahead and let this come up. Alright, so the oil is heated up now. I can tell it's nice and hot. You can smell it. But this one's frying up. And I can regulate the temperature by just lifting this skillet off the heat for a minute. But I can see that it's browning up nicely because now I can move the eggplant in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one. Add another one to our skillet. And flip this one. Okay, there we go. You can see they're fried up nicely on the other side as well. So we'll start pulling these out of the pan. These smaller ones cook up a little bit quicker. Pull these out. They're going to continue cooking even when they're sitting there on the pan. Yes. This is the recording. This is the end of the second batch. And just kind of letting them take their time in the pan so that they get nice and brown and crisp. A lot of the smoke that you're seeing coming up is just from some of the breadcrumbs that have settled into the bottom of this pan that are getting crispy. Come on and zoom on in here. You can see what I'm talking about. Some of these crispy breadcrumbs are kind of left over here, but you can see we've got a nice set of residual oils that we're working with. Anytime you think it might get getting a little bit too hot, just add a little scoop of fresh oil in there. It instantly cools it down. All right, so these are finishing up, and they're looking good. This is the last bit, the last three. When you cook these, you can kind of feel how, zoom in tight, you can kind of see how these are like a medium rare. They have a nice little springiness to them. Means that they're still nice and have some nice texture in the center of it. Really nice, medium rare style eggplant. This is all good color. This one might be a little bit dark, but it's still a good color on these. You like this brown crusting. If you wanted to, you could just grab a little knife and just kind of scrape off a little bit of the blackness if it's too much for you. But I don't mind that. It's going to be nice, and it's going to be covered with the tomato sauce and the cheese as well. And all those flavors are going to lend themselves nicely. So those are where our fried eggplant is. And now we're going to go ahead and develop our Parmesans. So we're going to go ahead and build these now for our final presentation. And we're just going to start off with 3 of them. And we're going to do nice, big, full. Come on in here. Let me show you what I got going. And we're going to do nice, big, full eggplants here. These are our best ones that we have to start off with. And then we're going to use some of this famous sauce that I made up the other day, which just came together absolutely perfect. I'm going to just take this sauce and layer it up on top of here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move over to our cheeses. Beautiful mozzarella, fresh buffalo mozzarella. And we're going to go ahead and just cut down into some nice slices. Take one of these. Slice it down into these nice slices, and we're just going to take 2 of them and fan them up nicely over the top of these. Fan them up over the top. And take these 3, fan them up over the top. And then we're just going to hit them with a little bit of oregano, ground oregano. Just to kind of throw them through. And then some fresh grated Parmesan over the top, which we'll cook in, and then we're going to finish with a little bit over the top as well. Okay, so there they go. From this point, we're going to go ahead and put them into a real hot oven, and we're going to go ahead and slide these on in here. And this thing is set at 400 degrees and 420, and we're going to go ahead and take it to, it's not going to need 27 minutes, it's probably only going to need about 15. All right, well, we're finishing up here with our eggplant parmesans. Everything's coming down to the wire. Come on in here. Take a look in the old Brillview toaster oven. You can see our eggplants are nicely cooking with the melted cheese on there. And then we're going to go ahead and make a little bit of side pasta with it. And it's just going to be a very simple little undercoating of pasta that we can have to eat our eggplant parmesan on top of. Do fresh garlic. Once again, it must cut the fresh garlic by hand every single time. So there's our fresh garlic into a pan with a little bit of olive oil. Okay. These guys are done. I'm going to keep them in there to just stay hot. And our oil is heating. Then we're going to throw our garlic in. You can see our garlic is cooking nicely. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of butter in there as well. We're going to let this get nice and hot until the butter melts and the garlic turns brown. Add our pasta. This is some beautiful pre-cooked penne rigata, cooked al dente, and then I just chill it. We're going to add a little bit of our pasta water, and that's just going to help create a little bit of a cooking sauce with it. You're going to smell that roasted garlic. And hit it with a little bit of black pepper, beautiful Himalayan sea salt, a little bit more of that pasta water, hit it with a little bit of fresh Parmesan, and then we're going to go ahead and take some fresh basil. I love to use any fresh herb. It's always awesome. Remember, cut this into that chiffonade like ribbons. Let's take just a little bit of this and drop it in here. This is done. Plate this as a base. Slide it right up on top. Take one of these guys, slide it right up on top. Dusting of basil, fresh little spritz of oregano, and a just pinch of fresh Parmesan. Reggiano, and there you have it. Eggplant Parmesan with fresh buffalo mozzarella, basil, with a garlic butter penne pasta. Enjoy.